Hi everyone, it's Sue. Welcome to my mess. So I'm just following on from some other watercolor tags that you have already seen me do. So it's just a create with me, just show you the process. So I've gone a little bit, I'm saying grungy. I know it's not overly grungy, but for me it's grungy compared to what I normally do. So I've come up with these darker coloured tags, and the base is the watercolor paper again. So I am absolutely loving using watercolor paper for my tags and journaling cards and that sort of thing at the moment. So while the mojo's there, I am just going to run with it. So I thought I'd just go through the process that I've done to get these tags here. Okay, some of them are a little bit similar in the way that I've set them up here as to previous video, but very different process. Okay, so I've just changed the lighting a little bit just because I was getting the glare on this mat. It's not quite as bad, so I hope that's not too bad there. All right, so I'm just going to turn my heater off because now I'm hot. Now I've started. It's been freezing here again today, so I've had that going, and now as soon as I turn the video on, I get hot. Must be nerves. All right, so I started out, the base of these tags were just this big A3 sheet of watercolor paper that I just coffee dyed. Really randomly, I put some plastic doilies over the top. So there's, you know, bits of watercolor where it's only just changed the color. There's no, you know, design or anything on it. That's what I wanted. So that's how I've started. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a couple of tags. So I think from memory, and I won't cut this whole sheet, but from memory I get 8 or 10 tags. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze now. Oh, it's gone. So I cut them 3 inches wide and then about 5 3/4 in height. So I'll just cut a couple now so that we can make some of these tags. I just want to show you the size of the paper. So I'll just cut 2 lots, 2 strips. Okay. Now as you can see, this is cut it. It's got a furry edge because I haven't held this down tight enough, but that's okay because as you can see, I rough the edge up there anyway. I'm just going to turn this a little bit so that you can see a bit better. Okay. So just approximately, it doesn't matter if they're not all the same size. So I cut them about 5 3/4 in height. I'll just get rid of that. I love this one. This is my favorite, I think. It's hanging off the side there. And they're all backed on with that craft cardstock again too. So I'm loving that craft cardstock. I went and bought 3 more packets of that yesterday. It's really smooth and it's just a really beautiful color. So, all right. So there's the start of your tags. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to choose a couple and I'll just put these to the side for now. And you've seen me use this before. This is just the tag punch board. I use it with my Stanley knife. I just need to make sure that I'm in. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't matter which you use as the top or the bottom of your tag. So I'm just going to trim off the top edge to give me a tag. As I said, doesn't matter about the rough edge because we're going to rough that up anyway. And same thing with the die. It doesn't matter where, you know, which part of the tag is the top or which is the bottom. I just sort of have a look and just think, oh, you know, what do I want? So I just wanted this image down here as the bottom. Majority of it's going to be covered up anyway. It's sort of just to give the base of your tag a bit of colour. Okay, so you can see here I've used I have used brushed corduroy Distress Oxide. Sorry, Vintage Photo Distress Oxide. And I used Broken China here as well. Okay, so you can see the Vintage Photo is this darker edge here, and this is just the initial coffee dyeing. I don't know whether you can see that, hopefully you can. And then this is the Broken China that I've added in there as well. I did originally have it really quite dark, but it was just too dark for me. So okay, so they're the two colors that I'm using. I'm just getting a piece of paper. I know this is meant, like the glass mat is so that you can clean off easily, but I have one baby wipe left, so I'm going to try and get most of my mess on this paper here if I can. Okay, so I got these the other day from TK Maxx. They're just a multi-purpose makeup brush, and I just like the way that it just goes on, you know, not too heavy. You can sort of add to it and add as much as you like or as little as you like. So see how I've built that up. So what I did was I just, in 3 places on the tag, I put this colour like so. And then with the Broken China, I did actually use, just got to find the right one of the Ranger tools. I don't know, it just doesn't go on as smoothly. But anyway, that's fine. So I'm just putting it in 3 places as well. So it doesn't, I mean, I don't know, just don't overthink it too much, but just gives a little bit of colour. Okay, so I'm just going to do that on this one as well. So as I'm doing, like I've been doing them, you know, several tags, similar sort of style, and just mixing it up a bit each time. So I would do, you know, if I've got 6 tags that I want to do, excuse me, I would do the 6, each step 6 times. I'm just trying to build up my stash of tags and journaling cards, that sort of thing, for journals, because as you all know, I have started working full-time, so I don't get as much time, unfortunately, to do all that now. So I need to be sensible, I guess, with my time, for want of a better word. Okay, so I've done that. Now what I'll do is I've just got some water in a mist spray here. I found it's just too hard to control the mist, and this mist's in like just a big spray. So what I wanted was just for those colours just to lift in places and show the pale coffee stained underneath. So I'm just flicking with a paintbrush just some dots on top of that Distress Oxide. So the Distress Oxide, as you would almost know, it reacts with water. Okay, I'm just leaving that sit for a little bit, just wiping off my brush. And then I've just got this big roll of kitchen towel, and I want to try and work out how I can utilize this. This is just from some other watercolors and that I've been doing just over the last couple of days. Sorry. And just loving the color. I just thought, oh, I've just pulled that off to dry. because I don't want any of the other colours to, like react too much onto these tags, but I'd love to be able to utilise that paper towel. So see how that's picked up? It's reactivated and it's just picked up the colour. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. Now I'm just going to let them dry for a minute. They're not too wet, actually. I'll work on this one because it's not as wet. So now what I've done is I've just added some stamps. I'm just trying to find... Oh, sorry guys, thought it was so organised. Okay, so the stamps that I'm using in this, I've just picked these up recently, and I love them. They're upside down. Absolutely love them. So my stamping in the background I've actually done with black ink, and it's this one here that doesn't, it's quite dry, it's not very dark. So I've used that, and I've used potting soil in the archival ink. So these are the two colours that I've used for the stamping in the background. So just grab these stamps out. So I mean, it just depends what you want to do. So I think I might use this one. Just having a look and see what I've used on the others. I don't want them all to be exactly the same. I think I'll use this one. Let's grab a block. Okay. So I'm just going to add these quite randomly. So just to add a few layers to the tag. This I'm just going to stamp. Actually, what I might do is double this up so that so if you do this, you can use up the whole stamp that you've inked. I'm just going to go so I've got part of that stamp on there and part of it on here. Okay. And I'm just going to pop that one down here. Now, as I said, I've got one nappy wipe, or baby wipe, whatever you call it. James is off doing some groceries now, so I hope he remembers to grab me some. So that's that. I might add, I think, just some of this one. This one's really hard to tell which is the right way up. I think I'm just going to go like this. Okay, so I mean, you're not going to see all these. These are all, some of these are going to be hidden, but if you just add your layers and build, I'm picking everything up everywhere here now. Just build your layers, and it's nice to have things poking out from underneath. So I'm going to add some little crosshatch pieces with this one here, and I'm just going to use the black ink, and this one I just used with just wrapped it around my fingers, so I just pressed it into the ink pen. So you don't want, too much. And then I'm just going to add a little bit here. Okay. I'll just do the same on this one. Okay, so that's all added, and then I really like these little numbers here, so I'm going to add them as well. So these I did actually put on a block though. And same thing, you don't have to do this much stamping if you don't want to. It's totally up to you. Got so much mess on my desk, I can't even move. Okay. And then I'm going to do a little bit here. Okay. So that's pretty much all the stamping. As I said, you can add more if you want to. You can add less. This is really different for me, doing these sort of colours and quite grungy looking. And I know that people will say they're not really grungy, but they're grungy for me. Okay, so another thing that I'm really loving at the moment is this Kaiser Craft Rose Gold Iridescent Spray. Now, I'm not spraying it. I am just flicking it. So you can see on here, I've just flicked it. It just, I mean, I know it's not a rust colour as such, but to me it represents rust. So it's a pretty rust in my type of grunge. Let's put it that way. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking off the lid, and it gets everywhere, but that's okay. Who cares if there's rose gold everywhere? And once again, a lot of this is going to be covered up once you add your dragonflies or whatever embellishments you're putting on top of your tag, okay? So that's pretty much it. That's all I've done. So you can see that'll dry, sort of soak into the paper a bit, as you can see these have. So this one's quite wet there at the moment. So I'm just going to pop them to the side. And another thing that I've been doing is I've just been soaking that up as well. You can see it comes up on the... I don't know what I'm going to use this for, but I like the way it looks. So I'll pop it to the side, and I might be able to work out what to use them for later on down the track. Okay, so that's the layering. What I also did then was I liked to go around the outside of the tag, and I've used ground espresso. You don't have to use, you can use walnut ink, you can use black, you can use any color, but I wanted it to be quite dark. Okay, so if you just go around each tag, just be aware that that rose gold is still a little bit damp, but you can see it's actually soaking in and drying. It's a beautiful color. And I just do that really roughly, just ink around really roughly, because once again we're going to actually get to that tag and rough up those sides. Okay, so at this point, what I do then is I just grab a sheet of the craft cardstock, or you can do black, you can do dark brown. I've always loved craft cardstock anyway. So at this point I would actually glue this to the craft cardstock. Now I'm not taking it right to the edges because I do want to sew, and I do want to distress. See, that rose gold's not quite dry, but that's okay. And I do want to distress the edges, so I'm just going to pop that over there. So then what I do then is I will cut around that tag and leave about an eighth of an inch. You can add more. You don't have to have any overhang if you don't want to, but this is just how I've done them. Okay, so just about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So as I said, I've done, you know, like a few of the same sort of tags. I've obviously embellished them a little bit different, each one. So they all, I mean, none of them will be exactly the same because the stamps are in different places and that sort of thing. So I do these steps on, you know, several at one time. So then I would just go around once again with your, the ink that you've used around your original tag. Okay. And then at this point, I would go to my sewing machine and I would sew all the way around, all sides with a straight stitch. So what I've done is these, so you can see the spray. I just use the spray with this. And I mean, it still looks nice. I just like the blotchy look more. So this is, I've gone around and I've sewn around this tag. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that to the side. This one I haven't actually put any of the rose gold what do you call it, iridescent spray on there, so I will just add a little bit. Okay. What I'm finding with doing these watercolor tags, etc., is just the looser you are and the less you think about it, the better they turn out. So if you try and have control with these sort of things, they just don't tend to work out. Okay, so that's got the gold on it there. This one I haven't actually inked around the outside of the craft cardstock, so I'll just quickly do that now while that rose gold is absorbing into that paper. And you could also go around and ink around the outside of the tag on the back as well, but I'll leave that till I'm off camera. And that just gives it, as you can see here, just finishes it off. So you've got all this room for journaling. Now these ones I'm not going to put any eyelets in. I just like them the way they are. And they'll just pop in pockets, or I'll clip them onto a page. You could even glue them down two sides and use them as a tuck in one of your journals, or even just gift tags. So, okay, so that's that. And on a previous video, I've done this as well. So similar sort of way that I did it before, but I've just gone around with just a pair of scissors, put my nail underneath to lift the watercolor paper off the back of that craft cardstock, and just really roughed it up. See, it's going to stop once you get to the stitching. You just got to be aware and don't go too rough at it, because you will actually cut that thread. Just do that all the way around. Same with this too. Don't overthink it too much. Just get in there and do it. And just let your scissors do the work for you. So I'm just going in there and just lifting the, you can see I'm just lifting that watercolor paper away from the tag underneath. And you can see here why I said don't worry if your edges of your watercolor paper are a bit furry. You're not even going to notice that now. Okay, so you've got that, and then I just go around. I still want some of the white showing, just for a bit of contrast, but I just go around the edge like this. It's a bit messy, And, you know, to me, if you put an eyelet and some seam binding in that, or sari silk, that makes for a beautiful tag on its own. I mean, you could add some flowers, or it's endless, you know, a label and all sorts of different things. So I've got a heap here. I've run out of dragonflies and butterflies in these sort of colours at the moment. I've kept a couple here just to finish off a tag today to show you. So I'm going to have a play around with these tags here. So I've got some of these tags here that I've already done that I've still got to finish. I might have a play around and embellish them a little bit different. Okay, so that's your tag. So we've started with this and we've added it to the cardstock on the back. We've sewn around it and we've distressed the edges. Okay, and that's what we've got. So what I've done here is I've added some book paper and some designer scrapbooking paper. Now this is, I've got another sheet here. I love this. Oh, I've taken the... Anyway, that's what it looks like. And it's a Kaiser Craft collection. And I think it's called Workshop. So that's the code there, P2794. I don't know, it says, is it dashing? But how nice is that? So that's what I've used just to do this strip here. Okay, so this strip here, I've got one here that I prepared earlier. This strip here I've cut 1 inch. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. I just cut that 1 inch. Okay, and then I've just roughly tear, and I just work out approximately the length that I want. So out of each strip you'll get two pieces for a tag, and you can shorten them when you go to make your tag as well. And then I've just inked around the edge just to get rid of any white, any definite white. And then the same thing, I've just gone through and I've just roughed up the edges of that strip. Okay. I'm going back in again with the bit of ink that I've still got on this thing. And you can see that adds more texture to the tag. So this little bit here, I just tore the edge of that too. I didn't throw that away, and I've done the same here, and I'm just going to see if I can find, yep. So this is the one of the ones. So I've just done a strip of the paper this way. Okay, added a bit of cheesecloth and some sewing thread underneath. So, you know, this doesn't have to be thrown away. Who am I kidding? We don't throw these away anyway, but you can utilize these on these tags. Sorry, that's really noisy, isn't it? I'm just so used to being here on my own. Okay, so you can add that to there as well. All right, so what I've done as well on this strip, I've added a little bit of cheesecloth. So off my cheesecloth that I've coffee dyed, I've just got like a big piece like this that I've coffee dyed. I've just cut really roughly. I don't even know. I've just eyeballed it and cut about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some glue down the middle. If I can find my art glitter glue I'm using. So I'm just using, you can use any glue. I just like how this comes out quite finely. I need to refill it. And then all I've done is I've just leave it hanging off the bottom of the piece of paper, And I've just sort of twisted and ruffled it and done that all on top of the glue. I want it to look really rough. And then I'm just going to cut the excess off. And then I would go to my sewing machine and like this, just sew a zigzag stitch. Just right down the middle. And I've left all this hanging. I am going to cut those long threads off. They can stick up a little bit. Okay. So you end up with something like this. So I'm doing this in stages, guys, so just makes it a bit easier to show you. So there's a little bit too much white there for my liking, so I'm just going to add a little bit more ink. Okay, so you have the strip. Now, that doesn't show up as well. I probably would have used maybe a brown or something. Let me have a look at this one. This one's got a bit more green. So that's the only thing with that paper is because it's variegated where the colour is, you just have to choose which strip you like better. I think that's showing up a little bit better. So I'm going to use that one on there. Then all I did was just an old book. I have no idea even what this book's about. I've just roughly torn some book paper. You can hear all that clattering. That's Katie's with us at the moment, and she's obviously making herself a cuppa or doing the dishes or something in the kitchen. Okay, so I'm just going to add that to the tag on the side. And this doesn't have to be in the middle. It can be very right, like to the left, or it can be over here to the right. So I guess where your stamps are, so you're not covering up all your stamps that you've put in as a feature, I guess would be the best place to put it. So I like that stamp, so I'm going to put this over here. Okay, so all I do is I just add a bit of glue. This is obviously clogged up. I'm a bit slack with I put this magnet on here, right, so that it keeps the pin. Great idea. But do you think I can remember to do that? No. And then I spend ages looking for the pin on my desk. Okay, so I'm just going to put that there. Now, same thing. I mean, because I haven't glued right to the edge, you can actually manipulate this paper, you know, tear it or roll it, or, you know, do what you want to do with it. Make it look, you know, a bit messy. Give it the tag another layer. And then this one I'm going to just glue this down as well. And you'll see I haven't gone to the edge with this either, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm just going to just glue that down. Okay. So then what I also added, if I can find them, are some of these hole reinforcements that I have coloured, just for a little bit of a another layer. I mean, you probably can't even really see them that much, but it just adds another layer to your tag. And I like to normally do 3. On this one, I'm just going to cut one in half. And I'm just going to pop it down, just down here. So very subtle, but just another layer. Okay, now let's show you. So what I use with those, I found these at one of the cheap shops. So there's 320 rings in a pack. So all I normally do is I just grab, because I've just about run out, I just grab my sheet, and they're flat, which is nice, flat in colour. So you know what might even be nice is if we do some in the broken china. So let's just do some of them. So you can do any colour. Okay, and then if you want to, you can spray them and lift some of the colour. I'm not going to. And then you can just stamp, you can just use them like that, or you can actually stamp something over the top. So I've used a script on these ones, a script stamp. I don't have that handy at the moment. I'm just going to, so all you would do is just go over, and it doesn't matter if they double up. So this is really rough. Once again, don't overthink it too much. If you don't have, some of them don't get too much ink on them, it doesn't matter. Okay. And then they just peel off. They do. They just peel off. And you have a hole reinforcement. So you can put them in the top of your tags when you punch a hole, or you can just use them as an embellishment on your tags. Okay, so that was just, I just wanted to show you quickly. You probably all knew how to do that anyway. Okay, so we've got that to that point. And then I'm just going to add a dragonfly, I think. I like this guy. So I've just really, really roughly gone around the edge because I don't particularly want the white edges showing. Okay. If it gets all on the wings, it doesn't matter. Now, on the body, I've just gone through, and I'm just using the residue on this because otherwise it'd be too dark for my liking anyway. So just manipulate the wings gently so that you can get that white. Okay, I like them hanging over the side as well. So I'm going to also add some sewing thread. So I've just got a lighter colour here. You can use any colour, once again, that you like. And I don't know, I just pull it off the spool. Whatever I think. And you just have this big mess. Just sort of bundle it up. I just add some blobs of, what do you call that stuff? Glue. And I just place it down. Let's try and get it to grab onto the glue. This is, I end up pulling it all off because I've got glue and ink and all sorts all over my fingers. So stick that on there like that. Katie's looking at me really weird. She's thinking, why am I talking out loud to myself? I'm doing a video, Katie. No, you can stay there. That's all right. Okay. So you can see that that's what that's going to look like. So it's very subtle, but it still adds, it just adds more and more texture to your tag. So with this guy, so I want, these are the sides, the wings that I, well, I don't want any of the wings glued down really, but I want to glue to there, probably to here. So you could do that on both. So just glue to here and get those little antennae as well. And down the body of the dragonfly. And we're just going to pop that on top of that thread. Now, I make sure that I hold this down for a little while because it's got lots of layers to go through. It's got all that sewing thread to go through. and then it's got to glue down onto that, the back of, you know, the base of the tag. Okay, and so I just sort of manipulate the wings a little bit so that they lift off the tag. And there you have it. Hopefully you can see that okay. You can see all that texture there. And that's the back. I'll go through and do ink around the outside there, but I'll do that later. So if you don't want your wings loose like that, you can obviously glue them down. If you don't like them hanging off the side, obviously you can put it in the middle, or you can actually just chop them off if you want to. I just like that little bit of texture there. Okay, so that's just very quickly just showing you the process that I went through to do those tags. As I said, I've run out of dragonfly images, and on some of them I used these moths. I'm just grabbing them and show you. I don't like these as much as the dragonflies. I don't know. I mean, they're all nice. They're all different. So I might have a play around with some of these bases and just add some different bits and pieces. I'll go through some of my botanical books and see if I can find some shrubbery or some wildflowers or something that sort of match in with these colours here. So that's all of those I just wanted to share with you. I really, really enjoyed doing them. You can see here I haven't put any of the rose gold splatter on that as well, which it doesn't matter. I mean, I can go through and do that afterwards if I want to, but I'll leave some without it on there. And these ones here, I stopped using these. These are some round labels that I found at a cheap shop, and they're shiny though, really shiny, and I don't particularly like them, but I did the same technique. I just inked them and then just stamped randomly over the top of them. All right, well, that's it, guys. I have got some more exciting videos coming up using watercolor paper. I think they're exciting anyway, and that's the cat wanting to go out now. Katie, would you mind letting the cat out, please? Yeah, I've got some more. I'm really loving the watercolor paper, and I've run out of watercolor paper now as well because I've been making so many. I'll have to go and grab some, and it's only cheap. It's just the cheap stuff that I'm getting from Kmart here in Australia. I'll just grab the pad. So it's just their brand, Anko brand, 180 GSM. It's A3. You can get this A3 pad cost me $5, so you get 24 pages. So, you know, that is pretty amazing, really. So what does I get? 8 or 10? I think 10. So 10, you get 240 tags. Is that right? Yep, 240 tags out of a $5 pad. And I think the A4 pads, you get 24 pages and they're $3. So I just think this is more economical, the A3 size. Okay, so if you're in Australia and you can get to Kmart, go and grab some. It's certainly well worth it. Okay, all right, I'll leave you with it, guys. I hope you're all doing really well. Just a quick one. I've had the weekend now. I've got to go back to work again. Don't know whether I like this working gig. It's all right. Makes me appreciate the days that I do get to craft a little bit more. So take care, and until next time, I hope you get a little bit of crafting in. Bye-bye.